Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reviewing and ranking all of the books that I read in 2020. So if you look at my Goodreads, I actually read 21 books last year, which is not, it sounds like a lot. It's not as many as I would have personally liked to read, especially with COVID and quarantine. I don't know what I was doing. Anyways, I will let you know now, there's two of them that I will not be reviewing. They're called The Neighbor's Cat, and the other one was called Under Her Skin, I think. Those were ones that I got free from a website that I used to use that would send you authors' books before they went out to be published. It was kind of a way to get their name out there. So I don't have hard copies of them, and they would have just ended up in the middle somewhere. Neither of them were amazing and they didn't suck. So I'm just not going to review those ones. I'm reviewing the ones that I have hard copies of. I'm going to start from the bottom, so the one that I liked the least. This is Fear Street, and if you pay attention, it's number 1 and number 2 in the series. It's R.L. Stine. Number 2 in the series is called Don't Stay Up Late, and that is the last one on my list. That is the one I liked the least. Honestly, I don't think it's the book's fault. I think I'm just too old to be reading R.L. Stine, but I didn't read him as much as you would have thought growing up, considering how much I like horror. So Don't Stay Up Late, there's a girl and she's got nightmares and hallucinations. She had a horrible accident, she's in the hospital, she ends up taking a babysitting job, but her friends begin dying, and there's this monster that she keeps seeing everywhere, and people don't believe her, they think she's just hallucinating, so that's kind of what it's about. Yeah, so that one is at the bottom of my list, that is number 19 from what I will be reviewing. Number 18 is the first book in this one. It actually might have gone somewhere higher, but I had a really hard time ranking them. I don't like to make decisions, so I just put it here because it would be near the bottom somewhere. It was called Party Games, and it was about this girl who's invited to a guy's birthday party on Fear Island, and it's basically in this haunted mansion, and a scavenger hunt turns up some horrifying surprises, and then people start dying one by one, basically. That one was actually pretty good. They ruined the ending. I'm not gonna spoil it in case anybody out there does wanna read it. Again, I will just say I think I was just too young, honestly. Yeah, so then that one's considered number 18. Okay, number 17. I Will Be Murdered, but it's okay. I'm so sorry.
I'm looking at an update now on the TV show.
I'm so sorry. Again, this is the kind of thing that's almost there wasn't anything wrong with it. The other ones I just read were really good, in my opinion.
The next one too. Wow.
I'm so sorry. So this is the third Percy Jackson book. It's The Titan's Curse. Again, there was nothing wrong with it. It just, the ones that took me a really long time to get through automatically ended up lower on the list. And I've said to Janelle before, there's nothing wrong with the series. It's just I think I'm a little bit too old reading it. I'm still gonna finish it. I own all the books. I probably will even read the second series.
It's so much better.
So don't kill me. Anyways, this is number 17. So I've been giving, obviously, synopsises of what the books are about. I'm not going to do that for this one just because it's the third in a series, so if you're reading the first or second, I don't want to spoil what happens in those ones. But anyways, yeah. Number 16 is the second Percy Jackson book. It's The Sea of Monsters. There's a hair. The only thing about this one is just, again, it took me a while to get through it. It was pretty good. I've heard though that a lot of people don't like this one.
It's everyone's least favorite, but it's still good.
It's still good, yeah. So there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have anything else to say. This is the second Water Song novel. It is called Lullaby. It's by Amanda Hocking. I'm not gonna explain what this one's about because again, it's the second one, but I do have the first one in here, so I'll explain it then. I have read this series before, and I will say that when I get to the first one. I've read the first book 3 or 4 times, which is very odd for me. I don't normally do that. I've read this one once, but I have started the series again because I ended up buying the third book because I finally found it. I've had the first, second, and fourth one for forever, so I will be starting to read the third one soon. So let me know down in the comments if you guys want a video on reviewing the whole series. Sugar Plum, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Number 14, The Hunger Games. Listen. People are going to absolutely destroy me and drag me in the comments. For those of you who don't know what the Hunger Games is, in case you like lived under a rock or you're in a coma or something, there's like it's a apocalyptic kind of thing. Dystopian, thank you. I didn't want to say apocalypse because like that's not it. And there's this government system, and basically as a way, is it like population? It's not population control.
Kind of,
and it's a way to like be scared of the government. Anyways, they end up doing this thing called the Hunger Games, and there are 12 districts. Okay, literally everyone is going to destroy me in the comments. I'm like, in case you didn't know and you lived under a rock, and then I'm messing everything up. And they end up picking a girl and a guy from each district to fight, and only one of them gets to survive. There was nothing wrong with this. This is literally just because I watched the movie like 9 times and I've never read the books, and I want to read the books. So I ended up reading it, and again, like it was really good. I love the series. It's just that it was like repetitive because I watched the movie first. If I read the book first, maybe I would notice, but I feel like they're very similar. They're like, it's a pretty good adaptation, so I found everything I recognized or I remembered, that's all. I was just kind of like bored with it, but it still ended up being number 14, so that's how you know. Was this 14?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was like, how quickly I forget. 13. The first Percy Jackson book. So, this is similar to the other one though. I grew up watching the movie. So, and I know everybody hates the movie that has read the book. Like Janelle has admitted before, which is big for her, that the movie is good if you don't compare it. Is this backwards? Yeah. The movie is good if you don't compare it to the book. We gotta leave all that in. So I grew up watching it like every weekend. So that, again, that's the only thing is I found it similar to the Hunger Games where it was just like very repetitive. But there were different things in this than in that. Like I found this one easier to read, or like I didn't remember as many of the things. But again, I think I'm just a little bit too old to be reading it, and that's the only reason it's this far down. So I forgot to lay this out when I was putting them all in the order, and now I don't know where this one would go, so we're just gonna insert this somewhere in the middle. So if you're saying this, hi, hello. Carrie by Stephen King. This one I didn't love. I didn't hate it. It was my first Stephen King one that I began and finished. I'm currently reading It by Stephen King, and I like it way more than this. So I can't say that the only reason I didn't love it was Stephen King, because I really like it so far. I've said before in another video, I just found that she was like boring, like Carrie, to read from her perspective, and like, yeah, I don't know, there were just weird things in this. It was also very religious, which is fine, it's just not my sort of thing. So yeah, this is just somewhere in the middle. Breaking Dawn. So this is the fourth book in the Twilight series. Again, I'm not gonna explain what's about. I didn't explain what Percy Jackson's about.
I feel like that's very standard.
Yeah, well, so's the Hunger Games. Look it up. I'm not gonna explain what this is about. I don't want to spoil anything. I grew up with Twilight probably younger than I should have. I just finished reading the series now though. It was just the movies. I watched the first movie at least once a week, and the second movie probably like 3 times a week. Like those, like when I was in elementary school, that was my whole world. So, I mean, until the City of Bones came along. Anyways, so yeah, this was a really good book. It took me a little while to get through, but some of these you will find like are a little bit biased just because I know that I like the series, such as the next one coming. But yeah, there was really nothing wrong with it. It was quite good. It just took me a while, which it's huge, so it kind of makes sense, but yeah. This is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book in the Dark Artifices?
Spaces?
No. First of all, I love the cover. That has nothing to do with the ranking process, but like, I love the cover. Like I said, this one's a little bit biased because I know that I love the Shadowhunter series. Again, I'm not gonna explain what this one is about. This one took me at least a year to get through. Like I finished it in 2020, but I read like the majority of it in 2020, like probably the last 2/3 of it. And yeah, it was like once I actually started like powering through it, it was really good. It's a little bit like Stephen King, where it's just like so detailed, which because there's like over 800 pages. Something I really liked about this one is just because there's a short story at the end about Clary and Jace, and it kind of like just wrapped things up, because this is supposedly the last one. Cassandra Clare has a new series that she's currently working on, and it's the first 2 books are out right now, and it's, I think it takes place before the Clockwork series. I haven't started reading it yet, but I have the first one, so I will. And this is supposedly like the last one in like the modern times, I think. I remember hearing that, but then it ended on kind of like a cliffhanger when I was like, what? So anyways, but this one, yeah, this one was really good. It ended good. I was kind of shook. It's fine. This is We'll Never Be Apart by Amiko Jean. So this is about a girl who's locked in a mental ward. She's haunted by memories of the fire that killed her boyfriend, and her jealous sister said it. Then there's whispers from other mental patients that convince her that her sister has also been committed to this mental asylum, and she vows to avenge the life of the boy she loved. She like is sneaking out every night to like try to find her sister to basically like kill her, but like in group therapy sessions she has to like pretend she's getting better and whatever, and she's writing things in a journal, and so it kind of goes back and forth between like what happens and like past stuff, and then there's like journal entries. Yeah, this one ends like, this one had a plot twist. I've also read so many books like this that I kind of saw it coming, but not entirely, so I will say like it was done well. This still has sand on it. I read this in Florida right before the borders closed with COVID. That's good. This is Ringer. So this is by Lauren Oliver. It is the 2nd book in the Replica series, and I think there's only going to be 2. So what's really cool about these books, I don't think I've talked about these books before, it's 2 different stories. There's Gemma and there's Lyra. And the look on your face.
Oh.
And it splits halfway through. So this is like upside down, but like this is not upside down. So either you can read this whole side at once and then the other side, or you can do like a chapter at a time, which is what I did personally, because it's basically the same story. Like the stories are obviously connected. There's so much sand in this. Like it's really cool to read it, because it'll be like if Gemma and Lyra are having a conversation together and you read like one chapter and then the other chapter, there's like things in the conversations that are different, like different words or like different emotions kind of thing. So it just shows how like people can interpret things in different ways. But yeah, this one was really good. I don't think I liked it as much as the first one, but it's pretty good. So, okay, the next one is the first book in the Water Song series, as I talked about earlier. It's by Amanda Hawking. It's called Wake, and this one's so pretty. Also, check out my TikTok, because I've started posting book talks on there, and I put this one in, it was, you know, those ones that are like reader tells you whether or not it's worth reading. So I put this as a yes, like you should read this. This is one I've read like 3 or 4 times. It's about a girl, she's like big into swimming, and these sirens come to town. So that's the thing, I was never like huge into mermaids, but it's like evil mermaids basically. And they end up turning her into one of them. And there's this curse that if they leave town and she doesn't go with them, she'll die. Like, and like the rest of them will die too. So now she's basically like, she has to, and she can't stay living in the island she is. And the way that they survive is by like eating human like organs and like blood and stuff. They're like literally monsters. And so she doesn't want to be one of them, obviously, but she also doesn't want to die. So anyways, that's what it's about. And it's told in 2 perspectives. Gemma, which is the girl that gets turned into a siren, and her sister, her older sister, that's very like protective of her. And this book, I cannot talk enough about this book. The only reason it's this far down on my list is because I've read it so many times, but it's so good. Like, read that. The next one is The Game by Lindsay Miller. I am not going to go into a whole lot of detail on what this is about. I did a video reviewing it actually, so you can go check that out. I'll put the link down below. Janelle will put the link down below, because I don't know how to do that. Is it this one?
Yeah.
Okay, check up here. Fun. Yeah, this one was really good. I read it so quick. It is a short book, but like I read it in less than 24 hours or a little over, so yeah, this one was good. The next one, we're getting to the end, is The Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's the 2nd book in the Natural series. I just finished reading the 3rd, and the 4th just came in the mail, and I'm so excited. So when I finish that, that's the last one in the series, I will do a video reviewing that whole series, and I can't wait to do one. Yeah, so I obviously can't say what this is about, but the first one is in here as well, so I will explain it then. But yeah, the next one is The Dead House by Dawn Kurtagich. There should already be a video out of me reviewing it. We're just editing it right now. No, such a lie. I'm such a liar. Okay.
It's like, what? Why?
There should be a video out right now of me reviewing one of the other books by Dawn Kurtagich called And the Trees Crept In. And I referenced this book a couple times in that one. This book is so cool. This one is number 4 on my list of books that I read. There's 3 students dead, one vanished without a trace. 2 decades have passed since an inferno claimed the lives of 3 teenagers and caused Carly Johnson to disappear. The main suspect, Caitlin, the girl of nowhere. Caitlin's diary, discovered in the ruins of Elmbridge High, reveals the thoughts of a disturbed mind, but many claim Caitlin doesn't exist, and in a way she doesn't, because she's the alter ego of Carly Johnson. Debut author Dawn Kurtagich masterfully weaves together a thrilling and terrifying story using, so here's what's in this book. I get so excited to talk about this book. There's psychiatric reports, witness testimonials, video footage, which I talked about in the review. It's kind of just where it says like, and then this thing happens, and then this person talks. It's like almost like a script, and a discovered diary. As the mystery grows, the horrifying truth about what happened the night of the fire unfolds. This one took me a really long time to get through, but it was so much fun to read, because like this is like a diary entry, and this is like the video footage. Like it's just all like different stuff. It's like not a normal like book. So yeah, this one is really cool, and there's like pictures in it, and there's like people that message each other like on a computer, and they send each other notes and stuff. So yeah, anyways, this one is really good. I recommend this one a lot. It is quite scary and disturbing, which I would hope that you'd figure out by the back and by the front cover. Scary. You should read that one. The next one that I have, number 3, is The Merciless 2 by Janelle Vega. I have read every single one of her books except for the 4th one in this series. Again, I just finished the 3rd, so I will do a video reviewing all 4. This one is so good. I loved the first book in this series, The Merciless, like the first one, which it's the pink. If you ever seen like that pink book anywhere, that's what it is. This one's so good. Unfortunately, I did not read the first one this year, so I can't really explain what this is about, but look up the first one. I think it's described as a cross between Mean Girls and The Exorcist, I think is how they describe it. So, and I would agree with that. I think that's a perfect description. So yeah, this one's really good. I would say I'm frustrated that I can't explain what happens and why I thought it would not be as good as the first one, but in my opinion, it was better. I was so shocked at the end. I read it flying back from Florida in March when COVID came and everything shut down. Like, and I mean like on the plane, I finished it. It was so good. And the first thing I did when I got home, I had like a chapter left, and I was so frustrated when the plane landed and I had to get off because I just wanted to finish it. So when I get home, before I even like unpacked, I finished it. It was so good. Read it. Number 2, The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the first book to Killer Instinct, like I showed earlier. This one I've had for 3 or 4 years. I've had this one such a long time, and it was just on my shelf and I never read it. And then one time, I don't know, I remembered that one was on my shelf, and I didn't really remember anything about it, but I was like, oh, I kind of want to read that one that has like police tape on it. And anyways, I read it and I was shook. So if you've ever seen the movie Mindhunters, it's an older movie. I think it's the 80s, might be the 90s. It reminds me of that movie a lot. So it's about a FBI program, and they hire a bunch of teenagers that have like natural abilities. And I don't want to spoil how they got their abilities, but like there's a girl who knows when people are lying, and she can also lie really well. And then there's 2 people that can like read other people well, and they can figure out almost like how they grew up or like how they carry themselves. There's a guy that's really good with emotions, and then there's a girl who is super good with numbers, like patterns and like angles, just anything like that, statistics, like she knows everything. The main character, Cassie, she's a natural at reading people, piecing together the tiniest details. She can tell you who you are and what you want. So yeah, the FBI comes to her door, and they take her away to like across the country to train with these group of teens. There's a new killer who, it says, strikes close to home. There's like a new killer in their town, Danger creeps closer than Cassie could ever have imagined. Caught in a lethal game of cat and mouse with the murderer, the naturals are going to have to use all of their gifts just to survive. So the only thing I'll spoil about this one is that they're only supposed to work on cold cases. That's like their purpose because they're teenagers. They're not like officially in the FBI. They're all like 16, 17, 18, whatever. So obviously like that's a huge liability for the FBI. So they always work on the cold cases and they review all the files and watch all the tapes and that kind of thing. But there ends up being a killer nearby and they always want in on the action. So they end up kind of inserting themselves in and then the FBI has to use them because they're just so good at what they do. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything else. That one is so good. I really recommend reading that one. My favorite thing about this one is all of the characters are so dynamic. They're all like, I could tell you everything about them. They're so strongly adapted. I don't know how else to say it, but they just have such a big personality. So I like this one. And my number one book, 5 Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. I have read all of her books except for 2, and I own all of them except for 1. This one I read in 24 hours as well. This one is so good. And it all takes place in 24 hours, and it's like somebody who needs to get home for the holidays, and she gets in a car with people at an airport. There's a girl she met on the plane, so they all get in the car together. As their trip begins, she thinks that like they're all friends, and she's just joining in, and then she realizes that none of them actually know each other. So they're all 5 total strangers, and every one of them seems to be hiding something dangerous. It's a snowstorm. That's why she needs to get home for the holidays, and all the flights have been canceled, so they start driving. And it's basically someone in the car is clearly lying and sabotaging the trip. So like things start to go missing, things start to happen to the car, and it's clear that it has to be one of them in the car. There's only one thing that I don't like about this book, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it wasn't the ending. It was just kind of this side part that I thought was unnecessary. But anyways, yeah, this is my number 1 book that I read in 2020. I loved this one, it was so good. Those are the books that I read last year. I think it was a pretty good year for books that I loved. Like I got a lot of favorite authors and series read last year. So, and I finished up a lot of series that I hadn't got to, like Twilight. So yeah, it was successful in that way, but I'm hoping that this year I will read more. And if this is still a continuing channel, which I hope it is, by 2022, I will review the same as I did for this year. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see my reading, the books I've read ranked in previous years as well, because thanks to Goodreads, I have my reading challenges since like 2016. So yeah, just let me know. I think that is everything. If you guys like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys!